All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're taking a look at some deeply fascinating, honestly kind of highly abstract acting theory, and we're going to translate it into a completely practical guide on the craft of performance. If you have ever wondered what is actually going on inside an actor's head when they just completely lose themselves in a role, well, this is absolutely for you. We are going to break down the profound reality of doing.
So before we get into the really cosmic concepts, and trust me, there are some pretty wild ones in this source material, think about this question. What is the thing that helps you in acting? Just take a second. Picture yourself stepping onto a stage or a crowded film set. What do you actually rely on to make the unbelievable seem completely, undeniably real? Well, it's all about stepping fully into the reality of doing.
To unpack all of this, we're going to cover 5 key areas today. First, the reality of acting. Second, the theory of transactions. Third, the actor's 3 tools. Fourth, the 5-step script process. And finally, number 5, achieving the objective.
Okay, let's jump right into Section 1, the reality of acting, and what the source calls simulations of perfection.
Consider this incredibly striking quote from our source material. An attraction of paper burnt in the cosmos. Its purpose is over. Wow, right? It poetically illustrates that a performance is entirely ephemeral. It burns super bright, it expends immense energy in a single intensely focused moment, and then it's just gone. Yet the emotions generated from those fleeting moments are what the text brilliantly calls simulations of perfection. It's basically like capturing lightning in a bottle.
You see, the source frames the actor's reality as stepping into extreme, hyper-heightened scenarios. Think about playing a hero during a time of intense persecution, or having to literally become a king. Acting isn't just reciting words from a page, it's about simulating powerful words in your mind to actually become these larger-than-life figures. You are taking on immense power and heroism through sheer mental simulation. Which brings us to Section 2, the theory of transactions, featuring observers O, B, and C.
Now, this psychological theory asks us to look at performance as intense emotional friction. On one side, we have observer O. That's the actor, pushing an objective, making a transaction. On the other side is observer B, the scene partner, or honestly, even their own internal resistance, putting up emotional shields in a closed system. Observer B responds to counteract attraction to destroy the body. I know, it sounds a bit like quantum physics. But in human terms, this is just pure dramatic conflict. One force initiates, while the other fiercely responds to protect itself, risking the destruction of its own emotional safety in the process. And then we introduce neutral observer C. This observer receives the message with no further transaction. Essentially, C just sits back, watches this intense emotional warfare between O and B, and treats B as an abnormal personality. It's actually kind of hilarious when you think about it. But it perfectly highlights the bizarre reality of how non-actors, or, the audience, view the extreme vulnerability actors engage in. To the outside world, this raw, unfiltered exposure looks totally abnormal.
But here is the crucial point. All these complex cosmic transactions between O, B, and C, they really just boil down to one classic, undeniable truth. Acting is reacting truthfully to given circumstances. The theoretical possibilities are endless, sure, but stripped of all the dense language, acting is simply reacting to the intense, very real transactions happening in that precise moment.
Moving right along to Section 3, the actor's 3 tools and how to prepare for the transaction.
To actually handle these heavy emotional exchanges, you absolutely must cultivate 3 vital tools. First, you need a mind, specifically a focused mind, to navigate all that complex psychology we just talked about. Second, you need a body, described here as an athlete body, to endure the massive physical toll of performance. And third, you need a voice. The text notes a sexy voice, but really, that means an instrument that is utterly magnetic, resonant, and completely captivating. To survive the high stakes of a real performance, your instrument has to be razor sharp.
By maintaining those physical tools, the actor successfully navigates what the source describes as living 2 lives. It's basically a double life. Life 1 is the life you have with the world, your everyday reality. Life 2 is the acting you need to perform. You are constantly balancing these dual realities. The crazy simulations and the extreme emotions happen safely inside that focused mind, allowing the actor to function normally in the real world while simultaneously commanding the stage.
All right, Section 4, the 5-step script process.
This is the concrete methodology.
So, when the script needs to become reality and a massive amount of information needs to be safely stored, you follow these 5 steps to create a safety net for your memory. Number 1. Facts. The actor learns the concrete realities of the scene, so they're fully anchored. 2. Thoughts. The actor gets completely immersed in the mental space of the character. 3. Investigate. You dig deep into the underlying meaning beneath the lines. 4. Action. Armed with all that understanding, you make a definitive physical or vocal choice. And finally, 5. Respond. The actor organically takes in the transaction and reacts to their partner. Following this really deliberate path keeps you from getting lost and lets you genuinely tune into the vibrations produced by the facts.
And that brings us to our final section, Section 5, Achieving the Objective, or When Observation Disappears.
This leads right to the ultimate measure of success, the million-dollar question. How does the actor know they have achieved their objectives? I mean, how do you actually measure a completely invisible internal process?
Well, the answer lies in this powerful concept. The words which program the human mind with perfection change from personality to personality. What does that mean? It means perfection in acting is highly subjective. What deeply moves you to tears might not move someone else at all. Because of that, you must focus on the unique attractions that transform your own life. You have to go out and find the specific, deeply personal emotional triggers that work for your unique psychology. And when you finally find those triggers, you hit the ultimate objective. The source says it best. When I exist, the sense of observation doesn't exist. Just think about the profound nature of that state. You become so completely, so deeply immersed in the reality of doing that observers O, B, and C just vanish entirely. You aren't watching yourself act anymore, and you certainly aren't worried about the audience judging you. You are simply existing in the given circumstances. It's the holy grail of performance.
But before we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final, absolutely vital thought from the text. Information overloading in the brain may lead to decrease in efficiency. It is such a fantastic warning. We have talked about the cosmos, closed systems, and rigid methodologies today. But at the end of the day, do not overthink it. Overloading your brain literally destroys your ability to be present. So my question to you, to chew on the next time you watch a brilliant performance or step up to perform yourself is this. Are you getting bogged down by all the theory, or are you actually stepping into the reality of doing?